Hi everyone, today we are going to create this detailed iris of the eye and these long luscious lashes. So working on Procreate today, and our dimensions are going to be 3000 by 4000 pixels and 300 dpi. Make sure you have my eyelash brush set already pre-downloaded to follow this tutorial perfectly. I have already done the skin and the outline of the eye because we're focusing purely on the iris today. So I have this inspiration picture I'm just going to pop in the corner, and as you can see I have my separate layers. So I have the skin layer, the eyeball layer, and on top of all of those we are going to add in the iris. So on a new layer in a light brown, we are going to use the hard airbrush and go to the airbrushing section of your brushes, and that's where you will find it. I'm using brown today, but you can use any color you want for your eyes. You could do green, pink, blue, but start with your first base color and erase away the color that goes out of the shape of the eyeball. Then on a new layer on top, we are going to click Clipping Mask, select Solid Black, and we are going to do the pupil with the hard airbrush, and then with the soft brush, we are going to dust it around the top of the eyeball, dust it around the pupil, and on the border of the iris. Now that you have finished that dark shading, on a new layer underneath the dark shading, we're going to select a lighter brown, almost an orange. Then go to the artistic section of your brushes and select this hearts brush. It's like a speckled textured brush, which just gives it a really nice natural kind of look without having to do much at all. Now going back to the shading layer with the pupil on it, using the soft brush in the erase tool, I'm going to erase away some of the black shading that we added before. If you look at this example picture of this iris, you can see that wrapping around the pupil is like this almost hairy looking effect. So I'm trying to recreate that, not touching the harsh pupil itself. We don't want to change the shape of the actual pupil. We just want to do these little almost fingernail-like strokes around the border of the pupil to try to make it as realistic as possible. Now on a new layer underneath our dark pupil shading layer, so select a darker shade of whatever color you are using. And in the soft brush, I'm making my brush more of a medium size, and I am going around the eye doing lots of, again, fingernail-like kind of shapes and curves going around the eye, almost alternating the direction that they go. Then on a new layer above that, selecting an even darker shade, we're just going to do some wiggled horizontal lines just in the soft brush. As when I was doing some of my research into irises, I saw that a few of them had this kind of wiggly line. Of course, this is all optional. It depends on how detailed or simple you want your iris to be of the character or the person you are drawing. Now we're going to highlight the eyes, so on top of our pupil shading layer in a light brown, I'm actually going to use my highlighting brush, which is in my hairbrush pack, to highlight the eye. It's kind of a really good universal brush, so I do like to use it to highlight. So what I'm doing is lots of curved back and forth, almost zigzags in the same pattern and direction that the eye is, so we want to make it look curved. We do not want it to be just straight across. Then once finished, I simply erase away the tail ends so that it gives it a shimmery finish. Then to build the highlight even more in white, using the highlight 1 brush, which is slightly bolder, I'm going to go over top of where I just highlighted previously, but I'm doing lots of kind of different shapes of wiggles and curves. And then just like before, erase away the harsher edges so that it looks just like a shimmer. Then next, go to the pupil shading layer, and using the smudge tool in the soft brush, I'm just dragging out, oh by the way, here is the smudge tool. I'm just dragging out the edges of the cornea a little bit to make it look less of a harsh, round, blunt circle. We want it to be a little bit more shaded around the border. Check your progress at this stage to see if you are happy with that shading layer or if you want to add more. I decided I wanted to add a little bit more, so I just did these little zigzaggy shapes back and forth around the border. As always, make it as light or as dark as you want, depending on who or what you are drawing. Then on a new layer on top of everything, going back to the soft brush, I'm using like a light yellow and I'm doing lots of these little circular flecks in between and around our zigzag lines, just giving it a bit more dimension and texture, a little bit more shine. I'm selecting pure white and I'm doing the same. But then where I want the eye to really show where the direction of the light is coming from, I'm dumping a lot of that white in that corner. And then using the soft brush, I'm just erasing it away just to really define that area that I want to be highlighted. And then I'm adding some more white on top above where the lashes are gonna go. Zoom out and check your progress. Now you can tidy up your layers a little bit. I'm going to merge my two highlighting layers and then group all of the iris layers together just to keep everything nice and tidy. Now for the eyelashes, I'm going to use my eyelash thin brush, and we are going to start in the inner corners. See how they are quite smaller, shorter, and finer. So we are going to start at the base of the eye line and flicking them upwards in fingernail-like shapes. I feel like so many things are like in a fingernail shape when doing digital art. But you want to do lots of varied lengths. Don't make them look uniformed and all the exact same. Now when we get to the middle of the eye, you don't want the lashes to go directly up. You want them to curve down at the bottom and then flick back upwards so that it looks like you can see the root of the eyelash at the base of the eye. And don't be afraid to have some eyelashes going down into and on top of the eyeball itself. Gives it more of a natural look. Still using the same eyelash thin brush, I'm just going through after making my brush a little bit bigger and thickening up some of the lashes. Zoom out to check your progress and make sure, of course, you are on a separate layer for the lashes. Now doing the bottom lashes, starting in the inner corner, we want them to be smaller and more outwards instead of going downwards and very long. Work your way across the eye, curving them down, varied in size, varied in length. We can always erase away later if you feel like you've added too much, but you just want to slowly work your way across the eye, slowly changing the direction of the lashes when you start to go into the outer corner of the opposite end of the eye. Once you're finished, I'm just going and adding some tiny little fine baby lashes in between in different lengths just to give it more of a feathered natural look. Using the same eyelash thin brush, but just making the brush itself a little bit larger, I'm just thickening up some lashes to make some more bold than the others. Take a moment to zoom out and check your progress. So this next part is really fun. So on the highlighting layer, so all of this white that we added previously to the iris, in the erase tool, select the eyelash thin brush, and we are essentially going to erase away some of this highlighted white in that eyelash brush. So basically do lots of U curves. We're essentially mirroring the lashes above to make it look like a reflection within the eye itself. It's such a cool technique and it looks so real. And it is so easy. Zoom out at this moment to check your progress, and I'm just going to erase away in the soft brush a little bit of the ends of the eyelashes and the inner corners. Then just to accentuate the water line on the highlighted layer, just taking a skin tone light color in the soft brush, just drag that along the outside outline of the eye. And now you can add makeup or eyeshadow depending on who you are drawing. I'm just doing a warm eyeshadow look, and using my floral detailing brush is actually such a good one to do eyeliner. So I'm just doing some eyeliner top and smudging out the wing, then thickening up the eyebrow with some darker hair strands just to complete the look. And there you have a detailed, beautiful iris and long, luscious, and natural looking lashes to match. Subscribe and let me know what you want to learn next.